Hello, welcome to another episode of Papa Bear Hikes. Today we have Ryan Robison with us. Ryan did an internship at the Appalachian Trail Conservancy a few years ago. Quite a few years at this point, I'm sure, Ryan, not exactly yesterday. And he's going to share with us some of his experiences in this program. But I'd first like to start off by asking Ryan, what led to this opportunity to have this internship? So a lot of people probably think this is a really cool thing to do. So share with us what led to this or what provided this opportunity for you.
Yeah, hey Chris, thanks for having me. So I went to school in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and of course the Appalachian Trail Conservancy headquarters are in Harpers Ferry, which is basically just 5 miles down the road from Shepherdstown. And so it was one of those things where coming onto senior year of school, we had to have an internship credit. And it just so happened that the ATC was right there, and I'd always, enjoyed hiking in the area, whether it be on the Appalachian Trail or some of the adjacent trails. And so so I was a communications major, and they had a public relations internship available, and I was fortunate enough to meet with, their HR guy at one of our career festivals, and linked up with him there. Saw the opening a few months later, and was able to hop in there.
So what were some of the tasks you were assigned to perform? Just an example.
Yeah, so with the public relations, what we would do is we would put out these press releases once or twice a week, of anything going on with the trail, whether it would be, maintenance taking place down in Georgia, or celebrating a through hike, or sometimes we would do kind of hiker spotlights. We would talk to people who had been going through the trail, because the ATC, so it's not technically the halfway point of the trail between Maine and Georgia, but it's kind of like the unofficial halfway point. So people would come in every once in a while. We would talk with through hikers, and then we would take those press releases and we would push them out to newspapers and editorials up and down the East Coast. To be honest with you, kind of was just a spam type thing where we had an Excel sheet of every newspaper that was within X amount of miles of the trail, and we would send those out to people. So we would do a lot of activities like that. Sometimes the ATC would have things on the weekend. They would have events on the weekend when people would come in, and we would hold those, whether it be kind of giving, teaching people about the trail, going over, techniques that you should, for beginning hikers, techniques that you should try and adapt when you're going hiking, and especially if you're going overnight hiking. So a lot of communication with local newspapers, and some community outreach as well.
While you were there, did you have an opportunity to meet through hikers? Where you kind of, there's like this bubble that kind of makes its way up north, and then you have your southbounders making their way down. Did you have the opportunity to meet many through hikers?
I did, yeah. So what would happen is a lot of people that would be coming through would stop by the ATC. We're I'd probably say about half mile off the trail, maybe a little bit more than that. But they would come in and they would sign. We had a big book for everybody that was hiking, so people would come in. And I want to say most of the through hikers came through around July period. I think that's when most people would be hitting that midway point. But you could always tell when it was through hikers, because how the ATC was set up was you kind of had the guest services on the front or on the bottom floor, and then above that was where kind of all the behind the scenes workers were. And whenever you would come down the stairs, you could kind of catch a whiff, and that's how you would. It's a pretty dead giveaway that someone was a through hiker. But yeah, we had it was definitely got a chance to talk to a few through hikers. It was pretty crazy to hear people's stories.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't lead in with, yeah, we know a through hiker's coming because we could smell them as they're entering West Virginia. Uh, funny side story to that. I had a group of Boy Scouts out on the Appalachian Trail in New Jersey a few years back, and a couple of through hikers passed us, and I said, "Oh, they're through hikers." And one of the kids said to me, "Well, how do you know that?" I said, "Did you get a whiff?"
You
That
can,
and the long beard.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You can tell by the smell, and the patchy beard's a dead giveaway too.
Yeah. While you were down there, did you have an opportunity yourself to get out and enjoy the trail or do any trail work? I'm guessing it wasn't all work, no play.
No, so we didn't get out on the trail too much. You know, we would go out sometimes on personal time. It's kind of one of those fun things where it'd be like a Friday afternoon, and a couple people from the office would be like, "Hey, we're just gonna go do a quick hour hike." But we didn't really do you know, too many big things actually physically on the trail. Um, we did have it was kind of neat. So there were regional offices throughout the trail. So there's like the new I'm a little it's been a while, but I know there's like the New England, there's the Mid Atlantic, and I believe there's the Southeast office. And one of the cool things that we got to do was early on when I started, they all came in. And they kind of had a meeting of the minds, and after that they had like a nice little cocktail hour, um, and it was really cool to just meet with everyone and kind of see how the trails run in different areas. Um, One of the things that I always kind of wanted to do but never really got an opportunity was to be a ridge runner. And so what they do is I think it's a volunteer basis, but they work in different sections of the trail, and they basically do trail repairs. So that was something that I always wanted to do, but just never really had an opportunity to.
And one of my Appalachian Trail section hikes, the opportunity to meet and speak with a ridge runner, trail runner, and they really contribute a great deal to the success of the trail and to the through hikers opportunity, everything that's there. They do a lot from little trail maintenance here and there to just being present to help somebody if there's a situation where they may need some help to either get off the trail or there's a bad situation occurring.
Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely integral to to maintaining the trail and keeping it safe for everyone.
So you had mentioned to me at one point how much you like West Virginia.
Mm.
Did this start your love affair with West Virginia, or was that already in play when you before you took the internship?
It really kind of, I guess, made it blossom because I'd been in Shepherdstown. Shepherdstown was cool, but when you're in college, don't exactly explore too much in the surrounding area. So I had always been in Shepherdstown. I love Shepherdstown, but then when I went over to the ATC, it was my first chance to really kind of see Harper's Ferry, and Harper's Ferry is such a cool little town as well. It's just it's got all the historic vibes. It's got the confluence of the Potomac and the Shenandoah. There's the Appalachian Trail, and there are other trails around. It really contributed to me really falling in love with West Virginia. And it was like, man, this little nook right here is just kind of perfect.
I've never heard anybody visit West Virginia and say, "Ah, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that great. It wasn't Everybody that's ever gone there to visit or just enjoy the outdoors seems to fall in love with it.
It's definitely a pretty state. There's no, you can't deny that.
And just a question I meant to ask when we were talking about through hikers, you had mentioned that it's I guess, the psychological midway point is how I've heard some people put it, or
Mm.
the symbolic midway point. And the actual midway point is probably, let's 70 or so miles further north. Do people kind of have that look on their face, though, through hikers when they get to West Virginia? Is there any kind of feel like, I made it halfway there?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, from a psychological standpoint, um, that's such a huge accomplishment. So you can definitely tell, talking to people, even just to make it, if you're a through hiker, obviously there's that goal, but even just to make it halfway, is such a tremendous accomplishment. And you can tell talking to people that, it kind of gives that second wind. I can imagine coming in on the halfway point when you're, maybe 50, 100 miles out, and you're kind of dragging a little bit. But hitting that, that psychological halfway point, sitting down, grabbing a burger and a beer, I think probably helps people, pushes them into that second leg.
I think to hike that long, that many miles, you have to have these psychological benchmarks. Because I've hiked in different parts, and I know, like in New Jersey, when I've met through hikers, the feeling is I made it through northern Pennsylvania, the rocks of northern Pennsylvania. It's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be a very rocky section. Or when I've been in New England, it's only two more states to go till I get to Katahdin. It's pretty amazing. And then the physical transformation. Right? These people go from struggling to get to 10 miles a day, and by the time they get to Katahdin, they're doing 20+ mile days. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So, do you have any plans yourself for any outdoor endeavors coming up? Any goals or bucket list?
Yeah, so I've started accumulating some equipment. Nicole got me a really nice sleeping bag for Christmas. I got some hiking shoes. So I'd really like to get, out and start doing some overnight hikes. I'd like to kind of knock out chunks of the Appalachian Trail, maybe 2 or 3 days at a time. I kind of had my fair share of hiking and camping for a while. Because of the Army, but now I think I'm ready to get back out and you know and get back into it. Like I said, I'd like to hit a couple spots on the Appalachian Trail. I went 2 weekends ago, I think, to I'm blanking on the mountain now. It's up in Frederick County outside of Catoctin. But anyway, went Sugarloaf Mountain, outside Frederick. Went there 2 weeks ago, and yeah, looking to get back into it. I picked the worst time of the year to decide I want to start hiking again, but gonna
Well,
try.
you're not alone. After I was recovering from my first knee surgery, I'm laying in bed in January looking at snow falling, and that's when I decided I'm getting back into backpacking. So, uh, never too late to start exploring. Well, Ryan, thanks for coming on the podcast. I look forward to having you on for future episodes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
All right, say hello to the family, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, please feel free to leave a review. If you found it helpful or useful or just entertaining, let us know. We can be contacted at papabearhikes@gmail.com or check us out at papabearhikes01 on Instagram. Thanks for listening. Get outside and have a great day.